Flosstube, welcome back to episode 3, which is super exciting. I'm Fawn.
I'm Marianne.
And this is Sanctum Stitching. For us, this is, oh shoot, I just knew it. It's Sunday, and it's Mother's Day. So happy Mother's Day to all of those out there.
Yes, and I wanted to wish a happy Mother's Day to everyone, and to my sister and my 2 sisters-in-law. And happy Mother's Day and happy birthday to my mother. My mother passed away in 2003, but today is her birthday. She would have been 93.
Wow.
Her name is Mildred Claire Curtis Mussett. And I have a picture of her from when she was 10. This is 1937.
Look at those rosy cheeks.
I'm glad you brought that up. You know, back in the 30s, they didn't have colored photos. So this was one, what they did was then they would take the picture and then they would touch it up with, they would add the color. And then this is her graduation picture from Hutchinson School for Girls in 1945. My sister, my sister and I both graduated from Hutchinson. I did in 1968 and Midge did in 1969. So but that was just wavy. We all wound up with the same waves Mama had. Y'all can see some of that here. And I like this picture a lot. So happy birthday, Mama.
Happy birthday.
That's all I wanted to say on that. So, and I did want to put out a kudos to our Needle Arts Guild of Toledo member Ann Link, who was a guest on Jan Hicks' Flosstube. Jan Hicks Creates. It seems Ann and Jan go back quite a way. So
college.
Good job, Ann. Yeah, she did a nice job. Somebody commented maybe Ann ought to get her own Flosstube. We really don't need the competition. Thank you kindly. Oh, and one other thing about Mother's Day. See here the white flowers? I'm sorry, Fawn, I almost forgot that part.
No
problem. If your mother has passed away, at least I don't know if people do the tradition so much anymore, but it was always that if your mother had passed away, you wore white to church usually. And if she was still alive, you had on red. So it was always kind of neat to see the ushers at church or whoever, you know, what color they had on and stuff. And they probably still do that back home. I'm not sure how much up here in Ohio. I'm sitting here with y'all on Sunday morning as we need to be. So there you go. That's my little bit of some vintage for you there.
Yeah, that's interesting. I had never heard that about the flowers before.
Oh, okay.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, red for she's still living and white she's passed on. Yeah.
Interesting. So I figured we will jump right in with work in progress. So it's Mania, as I'm sure you're all sick of hearing about. Everybody's got a Mania video. Everybody's posting their new starts, their work in progress. But for me and my first Mania, it's actually been really exciting and a lot of fun. And at first, because I have a schedule where I start something new on Friday, work on it till Sunday, and then Monday through Thursday, I work on a work in progress. And the first Friday of May, which was, I believe, May 1st, I felt restricted. I was like, oh no, why did I set myself up in this strict schedule? And now that we're into pretty much the second start, so the second weekend of May, I feel really happy with that schedule that I had set up for myself. Because I actually feel like I got a lot done making myself only work on one project for a certain amount of time. So last Friday, I started the Tiny Modernist Unicorn Tapestry.
Nice.
And I believe I had shown this in our last Sunday video where I talked about the fabric, where it's 28 count Riviera Aqua. And all that I had done at that point was a little bit of the flag. So then the rest of the day on Sunday, I got to work on the flag a little bit more, but we were pretty busy. So I didn't get as much as I wanted to done. But then Monday, I put this away and I started on my Grimm's Fairy Tale Cinderella, which I'll show next. But I finished that on Thursday morning. So then the rest of the day, Thursday, I was able to pick this back up and I got the flowers, the start of the trees, started to fill in this tree, and I didn't want to put it down when it came to Friday. But I really like the colors. I think they pop out a lot, especially in that flag, like the transition. There's so many different colors in there, and I really like this piece.
It's beautiful, Fawn. It's beautiful. It really
Thanks.
is. I like the colors too. I can hardly wait to watch it expand.
Oh, I know, because once I get, like, I have a big chunk done by doing the flag
did?
and the start of these trees. But once
Yeah.
we get into all of this, where it's like basically popcorn flowers,
Right,
you
right.
really start to see it pop all over the place.
That
So
fabric
that
is gorgeous too.
So then, like I just mentioned, I put that away. And on Monday, I got to work on a work in progress, which for me is that week was scheduled to be Grimm's Fairy Tale by Clouds Factory, which was exciting because on May 1st, they released the monthly pattern. So it was Cinderella. And I think I had mentioned last week that I wasn't sure I was going to be able to get it all done, and I didn't want to be behind because each month I had been caught up. But I finished it, and so that was super exciting and really fast.
Whoa.
Right?
Yeah.
So I had to do the EFG,
Mhm.
this little like sun, snowflake, whatever, the tree, the dress, Cinderella, Prince, and the stepsisters, and this border. And all of it I got done in basically 3.5 days.
Well, the Southern phrase would be, you are ginning cotton on that one, young lady.
And
A
so
little more vintage for y'all.
here's the full piece. So you can see I still have a lot more to go, but it's really starting to fill in, and you can see just how wide the piece is going to be now.
What's the name of the fabric you're doing it on, or the coloring that it is? A lighted, because it's a dyed. I can tell that it's.
I
dyed.
don't, of course, I don't have the paper in here.
But
It is the called for Picture This Plus fabric for the Grimm's Fairy Tale project. I can't remember the exact name of it, but I bought their whole kit, so I got what they recommended.
Well,
I've seen some people do it on really dark fabric. I've seen people do it on like pinkish or blue, and I really like it on the called for, but it's still like the elements pop on other darker fabrics as well.
it's a little bit of a gray, it looks like. In the camera, to me, it looks, is it a light blue or a lighter gray?
It's actually a really light green.
Oh,
So almost
light green. Okay, well.
kind of mint, but not quite mint.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll post a photo on Instagram of this, and you'll be able to really see the color.
It pops.
Yes, absolutely. And that is all I had for whips for me. Did you have any this week?
I do. I worked on the flamingos. I got a little more grass in right about, I had not put these on anything to make it easier. Right about in here. I'm still doing grass. I need to add, you see the one flamingo that's got its head way down. Well, I don't need to add grass there, but I've got to fill it in over here just beyond the needle minder, right over in this spot here. This needs to be all filled in right there.
Gotcha.
So, and then we'll move along to the palm trees on there. Then we hopefully will get it framed. I also, yeah, doggone it, I had this all fixed. I also got out one of the vintage pieces last night. This is the one that's the other that's the banner with the cardinals. And I went on, it was so wrinkled up because of course I've had it just put into a bag. I got out these scroll bars and put it on that. And last night I got the little bit of yellow, or a little bit of, you can see the color here, added to the hair there. So I thought, well, this will be something, maybe I'll work on this some more this afternoon and get it going again. Because like Joe says, I mean, it's almost done.
Yeah, you're so close.
The pattern starts you out with getting the larger pieces done And this is needlepoint, and it's actually Elsa Williams yarn. So she worked a lot with the people that created the pattern. It's another one of those like Dimensions or some other group that she worked with. I don't have where's the thing here? Oh, it's that, yeah, she did these needle treasures. Like you had that needle treasures thing. She was one of the people. They would have a different designer, but it's her threads, her yarns, her wools that they use. So I did that. So those are the two that we had talked about at some point that I couldn't, what's the word? I couldn't get my mojo going right.
It happens. I get that.
Yeah. The dogs had to go to the vet and get shots and stuff. And so Wednesday was kind of busy watching them go, and Thursday was stitching with our Needle Arts Guild of Toledo bunch. And that usually goes about an hour and a half. And I don't get much stitching done because I'm monitoring who can come in and out on the group. So I just enjoyed being with all of them. So that was kind of like, okay, that was Thursday, my other dress up day of the week. So that's all I've got as far as those go. I don't know. Well, I did finish. Do you want to see the start and finish? Are you ready for that yet? The little one piece
let's
thing?
move to new starts. So did you have a new start this week?
No, I had just this and I finished it too. So
okay, well, show us that. Go for it.
This is our Needle Arts Guild of Toledo.
Upside down.
Oh, thank you. Is that right? Yeah, Make-A-Wish. Yep. Okay. The Embroiderers Guild of America, of which Fawn and I are members because we are in our Needle Arts Guild of Toledo chapter, we recommend you do some outreach. So our guild does outreach for Make-A-Wish, and they give the children teddy bears. And then this will go into like a little medallion type thing. And the children let us know what their favorite color is. So it says Make-A-Wish and then their name. And then you do so I started it and got it finished all in one afternoon. But that's my start and finish for this week. But it's something now we've got to find new we use miniature picture frames, and Carol Ann can't seem to find those picture frames anymore. They either aren't making that style. So she and I were talking about maybe we might make tags of some kind, which will take a little more effort on our parts to attach this to it, where before with the little picture frames, you can just fold it and punch it and it's in. So that, or we'll still keep trying to look for picture frames. So thank you. I did my start and my finish all in one.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen those frames at Hobby Lobby or Michael's or AC Moore.
We used to get them, I think, through Joann's, where the last place I saw them. I've been looking online, and they're not real big, but they're an oval. You can get certain kinds, but this one's just a very plain one. We just want it where it's just barely a rim, and it's got like a plexiglass in front. And so you just put the piece over the back and then just push this together and you're done. And I don't know, now that we'll be able to go in stores or something, I may wander over to Joann's and see.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, if anybody knows where we can find the miniature frames for Make-A-Wish or any other project, let us know below, because we would greatly appreciate that.
We do. All the help we can get.
Absolutely. So I had a new start on Friday, and it's also sort of haul because my mail finally came in. And so I got a project from the Witchy Stitcher. It's called Kikamora. And so it's a cross stitch pattern.
Oh, nice.
And her packaging is amazing. So it came in this black manila folder. The threads were already pre-cut and sorted with the number and the symbol. The instructions, the booklet was on such a high quality paper. I forgot to bring it in here, but it came with a business card where they had hand drawn a ghost on it and included my name. And it was just super cool. I was very impressed with the quality of her packaging and her kits, and I would definitely order from her again. But this is what I had. So a completely new start on Friday. It's now Sunday morning, and this is as far as I've gotten.
Whoa.
Which is a whole bunch.
That is.
Yeah, so
Wow.
I started at the top, and so all of that inner part of the dress will be black, but I figure I'll work on that when I don't want to think about counting or anything and just fill it in TV.
That's a lot.
Then, yeah, I got the name, and so right where the needle is, that is the very far corner of the pattern. Okay. So I always liked you could see sort of the outline building.
Yeah, yeah.
And so Kikamura, I figured I would actually read a little bit about it. So just a couple of sentences. It's from Russian folklore, which I thought was super fascinating. Mm-hmm. And so it says, Kikamura sleeps in the dark places of the home, usually in the cellar or behind the furnace, and during the nights, she comes out and works with weaving, spinning, and needlework. If the home is well kept, Kikamura is happy with the family. Hopefully I'm saying the name right. She helps them with housework, guards the family members, and protects the chickens. An angry Kikamura may be a very troublesome spirit for the family because she interferes in people's lives, disturbs their sleep, especially irritates children, makes noises by scratching and whistling at night. She also moves and throws objects or makes them disappear or change their places. So I just thought that was interesting to have something based on folklore and that has a little story to it. It's more than just a design that you think is cool. It has a backstory.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was my new start, Mania work in progress for the weekend. I can't wait to dig into this more today. And then I'll have to hang it up for the rest of the month, which is very sad. Because it's been such an easy stitch and I got so far in 1 week or 1 weekend.
Well, there you go. You know, I didn't start. Oh, I'm sorry. You had something else there. You had some other note.
Yeah, I was just going to say, so on Monday, I'll start my canvas flower piece, which I showed last week. And that is a needlepoint pattern that I've been putting off because I love it, but I don't want to work on it because it's so big and bulky. So I'm kind of looking forward to having that time set aside that I have to work on it. So if I want to stitch, I have to get these canvas flowers set.
That'll be a pretty piece. That really will. Yeah. I was going to say I did not stitch a lot, but my niece told me how much she liked. She's Joe's niece, but I call her my niece too.
She's
Carrie.
nice.
A shout out to Carrie. She told me how much she liked that Jack Frost tree farm kit, and she does needlepoint, and she's been learning she's been working on counting cross stitch. So I said, well, I'll get you one then, or whatever, or I can loan you mine. And so I called up to our good friend Denise Duda and to come see to Timeless Stitches, and she did not have one of those patterns right then. She said, no, I'm out of that when I can't always get them quickly. So I started looking up online the Little Needle House brand and found them at 123 Stitch, which I think is in Utah or someplace way out there. Okay, way out west. Well, I not only bought that one for Carrie, I bought all of them in that little series about the Jack Frost this and that. So that's 7 patterns. I bought the one that I like so much that shows up on our other friend Denise Waterfield's, the Home of a Needle Worker, and another piece. And I thought, well, I'm helping the economy, stimulation here, because that was quite a bit of money there. And that was just the pattern. So that was my mania for the week. I was just sitting there like, oh, hey, yeah, this is fun. Let's just buy some more. I still have to get the floss and the fabric. But, oh, well, that'll be this week's mania.
Yeah. I keep at that Jack Frost pattern, the whole village. And I think if I did it, I want to do it on one big piece.
Yes.
Do you think you're going to do them on separate, or are you going to restitch the tree farm?
The tree farm's going to, well, that's a good question, because I could get I could probably get linen then to match the tree
Mhm.
farm. I don't have a name for the linen or anything. I got it at Denise's shop, but I don't know. I was thinking of just in individual ones, and that way I can give them to people for holiday, for Christmas or for a holiday decoration or something like that. But
Nice.
this will be, and Carrie already knows I'm going to get hers kitted for her, and then I'm going to get her the fabric and the floss. She knows this, so I'm not saying anything that she would be surprised. And told her happy birthday in August.
Yeah, be like, remember this.
Yeah, so I'll be getting, she knows that it's going to be her birthday present because she offered to pay. I said, no, just happy birthday. So that's how we're stimulating the economy from here in Northwest Ohio. So,
Very nice.
yeah.
So then I got one more thing in the mail. Oh, I should say for the Kikamura pattern, it's 28 count linen raw cashel, and I'm stitching 2/2.
Okay.
Forgot to mention that. So then from Witchy Stitcher, I also got Baby Yaga,
Oh.
which that also has a very interesting story, and I'll probably read that once I start working on it, but it won't be in May, very sadly. And it says, turn your back to the forest, your front to me. So it's kind of spooky, and I like the spooky stuff, so this is right up my alley. And the kit came with a needle on some felt, and these are the colors on the linen.
Oh, okay. Very nice.
Yeah, so pretty similar color scheme to the other one.
Yeah.
So when I'm doing them, I'm thinking that I might put it on like a flat piece of board and then put some backing on it and maybe put some black lace ribbon so it can just sort of hang wherever instead of being in a frame or something like that. So maybe if I put spooky lace, that'll look good on a hanger.
That's a neat idea.
Yeah, so I'm thinking ahead.
Yeah, I hadn't thought ahead about the track, the Jack Frost thing. I saw where you can do them as one piece, and that might be fun to do. It might be interesting to do it in different ones and stitch them together somehow. Make it like a quilted thing or something. But I think I'll stick right now with just getting them done. I now have the sewing machine where I need it. If I need to, I can hopefully sew again. If I can get the button in.
Did you have anything else that you worked on this week?
No. I said, this was a week I just couldn't get the juices flowing, and I thought you need to get with the program, kiddo. So I will get with the program this week. I'll stitch this afternoon and maybe this evening. I just couldn't. I don't know what happened. It was like I hit a wall. So I wonder, that would be something I'm curious about. I think some of the other floss tubes I've looked at, some people have had a hard time. That are even on Facebook, some of the groups, some people say, I just couldn't get it done this week. And this is the first time I've hit that wall, kind of.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I hit it every other month or so. I get so into it and I throw myself into stitching. And then I stitch so much, and then my neck is sore, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to stitch anymore because it just makes my neck hurt.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And then I stop for a week, and I'm like, oh, why aren't I stitching? I want to stitch.
Exactly. Well, that, and I've got arthritis in my hands, so it affects them sometimes. And Fritzy he's now the comic element of this Thursday stitch in for our guild. Last week he knocked over a plant, and this week he was just back and forth. So I finally opened the porch, even though it was chilly outside on Thursday, and he went out to the porch. Because one friend, Karen, she said, is Fritzy going to his bedroom? I said, he's getting close. But I think he hears all these voices, and he thinks, oh, I need to chime in too.
He's so social, so he just wants
to. Oh,
be.
Yes, he is. Oh, yes. He definitely is. And Eartha's just staying in the kitchen, and the dogs They've been okay since they go to the vet. That way they get sleepy after all those shots. So
Yeah, makes sense.
yeah, all I have is there's a couple of vintage things to show besides me. And
All right, well, let's jump right in with Marianne's memories then.
Marianne's memories. The first memory was the Cardinals there. These are my friend Jill, a shout out to Jill, who is not a needle worker, but enjoys antiques and older items. Now, see, that didn't work. She suggested when I had something to hold up, putting it on a board of some kind. So these are some doilies of sorts with the needlework like what we had on the tea towels last week. And you can see it's real fine. And then it's got, this is probably tatting around the crochet, or I think, well, it's crochet, it looks like. It's real tiny crochet on the edge there. So
I love colors. You can really see those.
Yeah, and these I've had put away, and there's a chest I have in the front hall there that was my grandmother's that I keep them in. But so I thought, well, yeah, this does help show them a little better. And then Fawn said she'll try and get them on our Instagram. Our friend Nancy Wright, who's in Guild with us, she watched our Flosstube, and she sent me an email with a table runner with embroidery on it that she said, this looks similar to what I showed y'all last week that had the little blue edge on the tea towels and then the embroidery. It wasn't exactly the same embroidery, but it was very similar. So I asked Fawn if she could, well, Sean can put it up too if he wants to. I don't care. Either one of them. But I also wanted to tell y'all, I have been, since I'm the vintage portion, not by my attitude, but just here I am. I've been trying to show off some of the vintage things that I have. Today I have on some beads that were one from my friend Jane Ely. So they're probably classic 1950s or 1960s as costume jewelry. My earrings are actually a clear plastic, and I'm not sure, they were some of hers also. I do have on my rings and such that are family heirloom of sorts, as well as one my grandparents gave me. So if you look closely, I will have on sometimes some vintage earrings or a vintage necklace or something like that. One friend commented to me, she said, I can't believe I watched your first Flosstube. And I looked at it and said, my gosh, she's in quarantine and she's wearing earrings. Well, y'all are the only time I put them on, sometimes for our Needle Arts Guild too. But I just feel like I want to look nice, and I can also show off some of my vintage jewelry, costume jewelry and stuff. So it's fun to do. So thank you for getting me inspired to get up in the morning and clean up and put on a nice looking out. And I actually keep this on the rest of the day, so nice. I feel like, why not? I'm dressed right as well. So
right. Anyway. Dress up Sunday.
yeah, exactly.
Very cool.
So
yeah, so I realized while you were talking that I have a finish. It's an old finish, but I figured I would show it. And I couldn't find the paper for the name of this kit, but I got it on clearance at Hobby Lobby maybe a year ago, so I'm not sure anybody can still find it. But it was an embroidery piece.
Oh, pretty.
And it's not I guess it's a kind of linen, but the fabric is a little different. It's more of like the embroidery fabric where it doesn't have the really obvious holes in it. And so it's got a lot of satin stitch. This one was my favorite. It's the Wagon Wheel.
Yeah.
And it's got a lot of French knots in it. So this is where I started to learn them, and then really conquered French knots on my sunflower piece that I showed a while back.
You did a nice job for that being a first effort of sorts.
Yeah, and then I know people don't usually like to show their backs because they're messy, and this one is no exception. But didn't know how to get it to be tight and make it stay in a hoop. And I also didn't know what kind of thread to use. So I had a ton of extra of this pink thread, and I just weaved and weaved, and it looks so bad. But it's perfectly tight. It's been tight like this for months. So I somehow did it right, and it hangs against the wall so nobody knows anyway. But when you're starting and you're first starting to get things laced, it might look like this, and it's totally okay, because unless you go on Flosstube and show it to the world, it's going to look like this and nobody's going to know anyway.
Well, you brought up something, so I'll walk over here and get it and show you something. Excuse me for walking away. Here I come. Look out. I'm coming back. I didn't leave. I'm back.
We can still hear you. It's fine.
I know. Yeah, my husband says, does it ever stop? No. He said, I think I may have told y'all this already. He said, when we got married, he said, I thought you would stop talking at least when you sleep. But no, you even talk in your sleep, and you give orders in your sleep. We did a project a while back in Guild where we made boxes out of hoops. And I did mine in reverse because it turns out you're supposed to have it where you can open it, you know, from the front. But I did a black, there's Fritzy. He's been back behind the sofa. I did a blackbird designs on the front. And what I did was, this is on here. And then in the back, because you're talking about a back there, this actually comes out. I've smushed it down in, but there's the back of my lacing.
There you go.
And then I had to lace this thing too.
Oh, gotcha.
But it goes into, I was able to push it into, I just push it into the hoop.
Oh, wow. And it looks so perfect.
See. And then this just goes right back on top, and we're all set.
That's really cool. I have to learn how to make it out of a hoop.
Yeah, I painted the hoops. I did not get this as tight, quite as tight as I would have liked to. It's got a few little edges. They say don't show your mistake. It's not so much a mistake as just I learned I could have tightened it even more, possibly.
It's just some flair.
Yeah. But really, just so you know, that's something you can do. I did this in 2017. So I've got the date on there, the year 2017.
Wow.
But I really like doing it. And some of the ladies in our guild did it with, they put more like a varnish on their hoops, you know, or a stain that was really pretty. I used some of that paint that's like a chalk paint.
Yeah, I like that color.
My friend Lane said she wouldn't mind having one of these someday too. So maybe I'll get a chance to make another hoop, and I'll make it a little differently. I'll maybe put the, you know, thing on front so you can actually pick it up with it. I just lift it up. It worked. And then now see, I lifted it up and my back came out. So I need to restuff the back again. Okay. Well, so much for that now. Let's get it back in there right. There we go. Okay.
Yeah, that's a really cool idea. I've never seen a basket sort of made out of hoops before.
Yeah, we had not either. And Diane Myers showed us, saw a class, took a class or something, and then she led us in a class where we did this. So she was really good about showing us how to do the hoops and everything.
That's awesome.
So there you go.
Very cool. So that is mostly what we have for this week. I did want to give a shout out to Megan from Georgia Girl Stitching.
Yes.
She just started a Flosstube, and she's been also so kind to us with our start. And I feel like through her and through a bunch of other Flosstubes, we're already part of this community.
Yes.
So I'll tag her below, but definitely go check out Megan's page. Again, that's Georgia Girl Stitching. And she also asked us a question, which I guess we never talked about, and we should have thought about it.
Oh,
it
that helped.
is, why did we name our channel Sanctum Stitching? And it's probably not as exciting as everybody would want it to be. I really like alliteration. So Marianne and I, we both tasked ourselves with trying to figure out what we wanted our channel name to be. And we came up with a whole list. And so I have so much alliteration in my list. But the very first thing we both had was Modern meets Vintage. And we could have just stopped right there and had that be our channel name, but I felt like we just needed a little bit more. And so that's how we came up with Sanctum Stitching, Modern meets Vintage. So we have their name plus the tagline. And Sanctum Stitching was because, one, alliteration, as I've mentioned, I'm obsessed, but also Sanctum is a sacred place. And for us, this Flosstube and stitching in our guild and this community that we're growing with is a sacred place for us. So to name it Sanctum Stitching, it worked and it flowed, and I really, really liked it.
And it got Sean approval too.
Yes.
That's her husband. And my husband said, whatever you name it's fine by me. So
yeah, and we would have overruled him either way if he said he didn't like it, if we liked it so much. Yeah. But, you know, husbands, they know what to say.
Yeah. Well, he likes the Modern meets Vintage thing. He thinks that's definitely acceptable.
Absolutely. So I think with that, that's all we have this week. So thank you for watching all the way to the end of Sanctum Stitching, where Modern meets Vintage.
Thank you a lot.
Our Instagram handle is Sanctum Stitching, also tagged below. And if you like this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and we can't wait to see you next week.
Have a nice week, y'all. Bye.